In this workflow, I'm going to walk through how to split your logic in a workflow with a condition. We don't exactly have built-in support for this, but you can usually get it done with a wee bit of custom code. And that's what we've done here. These templates you can use and download, use as you may wish. For example, triggering on order created, and let's say you want to say if the current total is less than X, let's tag it as low value, else let's tag it as high value, okay? So splitting your logic in these two directions. And normally the way this works is anytime you have a filter, all of the steps after the filter are only happen if that filter is true. And there isn't a way to say, but if it's false, do this other thing. And so here's the code for that. This is evaluating the conditional here. And then we've just added in this little piece here. I also modified the text, this debug log here, because it normally says ending execution, because that's normally what it does. But instead, we're sending it to this step, workflow step key. And so it's Shopify_2. And the way you get that key is you go here, click on the dot, and it gives you the key there. So whatever your key there is after the else, you would just drop that in. And so that's how that works. And here's what these test runs would look like. So it didn't pass the test. And so then it jumped to that next one. Now, if we change this so that it does pass the test, it would look like that. And then the other option, which is a little bit more advanced, is that in the else condition, we are going to send the execution off to a separate workflow, which I'm calling a sub workflow. And if you've got a longer workflow, I wish I had a better example because I'm just using the same example. But if you have a longer workflow and then you want to have an else condition, it may make more sense to split it off to a separate workflow. So you're calling MESA automation send and you're dropping the workflow key in there. And here's this one, and you can grab the workflow key here for any of your workflows. And you want to just trigger that on a webhook received. So when we call it, we're going to pass in the existing context. So existing steps that have run up until this point. So you'd have access to all of the context of the previous workflow, as opposed to like if you just pass the payload, you'd only have access to the payload for the previous step. So I like to pass in all the steps so you have access to them. And then here's what that payload looks like from within here. So webhook received. And then under that is Shopify, which would have been this guy. So if you looked at variables available, it's basically that. So it's passing that in. That's that order created. So yeah, those are the two ways to do that. Hope that helps. You can, as always, download these from the automation demos section of the blog. You can download those workflows there and install them. So if you need help setting that up, feel free to let us know.